Here we go. 5:30, May 28th. Welcome into KC Sports Tonight. Marlia Campbell here with a...
Right now, you were on.
I said that. I was like, here we go. Welcome into KC Sports Tonight. We are ready for the show. Neil?
Wait a minute. I'm taller than you. That ain't good. There we go.
Okay,
there we go.
What's on your mind? Let's just start there.
Okay, can you hold up that thing you have in front of you? No, the big thing. The big thing.
Yeah,
What is it? My wife has that. My daughter has that. Our son has one. What is it about the younger people? You walk around with these massive, expensive cups to put water in.
Let me tell you this. I've had this cup for maybe 6 months. It can sit in like a volcano and there'll still be ice in it after a while. Keeps your water cold. This is not a Stanley commercial, though. This is a sports podcast. Neil,
oh, you dropped that Stanley in, didn't you? You just got that in.
Right?
You just eased that baby right in.
Anyway, about an hour from now.
Ooh, this is an NBC mug. I probably shouldn't be drinking.
Also, a bad-looking cup of coffee you got there, Neil. But
well, I'll tell you what I'm excited about. I'm excited that tomorrow you get to go to practice, and this is the one time you assign something to yourself that I wasn't like, well, why am I not covering that?
We're jumping around. I'll go down.
I beg your pardon.
No, you're good.
Oh yeah, we can start.
We can start wherever we
But
want.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
Now they've been practicing yesterday and today, and they're not practices. They're organized team activities, which means they are completely 100%. Voluntary. The players don't get fined if they don't come in, but if you're on the edge, like if you're Kadarius Toney, probably ought to show up. And it's like if you're between a C and a D and you want to make that C, you probably ought to sit in the front row and smile and laugh at the teacher's jokes. But I think, are you looking forward to it?
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that we haven't seen this team collectively together, or really, I don't think heard from Patrick Mahomes. We've heard from Andy Reid a little bit around the draft time. Since the Super Bowl.
Oh, no. That team was not together at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's
they were not together at the Super Bowl. The last time we saw them together was when they beat Buffalo,
yeah.
I think. Would you agree?
I think that's a fair assessment. Yeah.
Have you ever, in your career as a college basketball player, Division I, not junior college, not Jared Kohler, I play in a beer league softball thing and I actually keep stats. I'm talking about Division I college basketball. Did you ever, and I bet you did, because most of us who played sports, did you ever have a game that just went south and you're like, oh my gosh?
As soon as you started saying that, my senior year, we were, I played at Wyoming, and we were
You could have left that out.
I think we were two or three games out of first place. Well, we had first place, something like that. Anyway, we needed to win one game of our final 2 or 3 to seal the conference. And we were on the road at the last place team in the league, lost, came home on senior night against Boise State, who's really good, and lost again. So we didn't win the conference
terrible.
Yeah, so
did your mom and dad come up for senior night and everything?
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
yeah,
God. What do you do? What do you do in Laramie, Wyoming
after
you lose blow the league, which is a big deal? A conference championship is a big deal.
And we had played in the NIT. We ended up playing the NIT that year too. But yeah, not only losing on senior night, but blowing a chance at a conference title.
So did your dad say, "What the heck's going on?
Glad I
What's
about that
going on?"
7 years later.
What did your dad say to you? Did he say like, "What is going on?"
They were so encouraging and everything. But honestly, that loss hurt. But it was at Air Force, and they were last in the league by a lot. And it kind of felt like a gimme. Like, let's drive 3 hours down the road, beat Air Force, and then come home and relax on senior night and celebrate a championship. But
oh man,
great. Well, this is a fun start to the show. Anyway, I can imagine the Chiefs feel a million times worse than that, having just come off a abysmal performance in the Super Bowl. Neil, you and I weren't together at the Super Bowl because you were on the field shooting the game.
And you were up in the press box eating lobster thermidor.
Yeah, thermidor. Have you watched that game back at all since?
Yeah, I did.
You did, yeah.
Because after the game, and you were on the post-game show as well.
Yeah.
But Jared and I'm down on the field. So when I was not doing segments, when they said, you've got this segment off, I was gathering up confetti for fans who were begging me, Eagles fans, can you please get confetti? And I'm like, yes. And so I did and brought it over to them and everything. And it was the only positive that came out of it for me was that I thought the Chiefs players were really professional, were really classy in the locker room. They were not in the mood to talk. And they were really just, it's just massive disappointment. Because think about this. That's a Super Bowl for some of those guys, like Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown, people like that. That's their first. Oh yeah, DeAndre Hopkins' first Super Bowl opportunity, and you can put that on your resume, and you have it forever, right? You get the ring, you get all the wonderful things that come from winning it, that you'll carry with you forever. The other guys, they have them. These guys didn't, and yet they were all class. Xavier Worthy was like, I think he may have talked in the other area. When he came in, he goes, fellas, I don't want to talk. But he was very, very polite.
Yeah.
Everybody was nice. Trey Smith had just an awful game by his standards because he's so good, and he answered questions, and some of the questions that we asked were stupid questions because you're in that moment.
What do you say? Yeah.
And you're so that part, I came away very impressed because it would have been. Listen, when you win, it's easy to be nice. It's hard to be nice when you've lost, and I thought the guys, all of them, were very professional and stuff. So after the game, Jared and I are talking, and I said this was just, and I think my point was just how awful the tackle play was. And he said, well, I think it's deeper than this and deeper or something. I don't remember. But I wanted to watch the game because I'm shooting the football through a very narrow lens.
Right.
I'm shooting
That's
the game.
That's why I asked, is because your perspective is so unique.
And you don't, well, it's not the best. In some ways it's good, but a lot of ways it's...
You think, you're on the field, you can see great, but yeah, you're...
Well, you're zoomed in. Sometimes you can see their face and you go, oh, he got hit hard or whatever, or you can hear it. But in this case, so I did go home, and over a period, I think I worked the next 6 or 7 days in a row, because I think you had, and I think all of us kind of did. We all had to work a bunch of days in a row right when we got back.
Yeah.
And I think I finally had 2 days off in a row, and I went downstairs, and my wife said, I want no part of that. I don't want to watch it. She was down there.
Once was enough.
And watching on TV from a restaurant and bar with Barb Teicher, Adam Teicher's wife, the two of them. And they got harassed by Eagles fans really badly and changed places at halftime, and it was still bad second place. She said the fans were not terrible, but they were just really giving them crap. And they're like, we're trying, we're just trying to sit here and watch the game. We're two ladies. And, well, Mrs. Teicher's a lady. My wife is like me.
Hi, Liz.
So, so she didn't want any part of it, but I did watch the game, and oh my gosh, it was so painful. And it's horrible. At the end of the game, maybe the only positive that we can take out of it is that Patrick Mahomes said he learned something. And that is, he looked at the game tape and he said, I've got to throw the ball upfield. I've been settling for all this junk the last couple of years underneath. Forget that. When I pushed the ball upfield against heavy pressure, and sometimes I just threw it up for grabs, we got some big plays downfield because it gave Xavier Worthy a chance to make a couple of great long catches over his shoulder. And it gave other people a chance. He goes, we got guys who could go deep. I need to give them an opportunity. And that was really good. He didn't say that to me. He said that when he got back. He didn't say that post-game. He said that when we came back, and was it the mini camp? What was it where he would have said that? Was that the draft? It was when he talked.
Oh, we zoomed in before the draft, I think. Yeah.
No, I think it was here.
Was it?
I thought it was here.
I'm trying to think what that would have been.
And it was like, you know what? That's music for my ears, because it's like we've all kind of thought, well, they can't protect him, so he can't hold the ball. He's saying, look, if I got to run around for 5 or 6 seconds to buy time and then go deep, that's what I got to do. And I think that's what he needs. He's a playmaker. He's a mad bomber. They got to let him try that. And they've got to stretch they have to get the safeties off the line of scrimmage if they're going to have any chance.
Yeah, and they have the weapons for that, particularly if and when Rashee Rice is back in action this year, and Hollywood Brown didn't play until late in the season with that shoulder injury. So, and then Xavier Worthy in his second year now. I mean, he was put in a seemingly impossible situation in his rookie campaign. Looked like he was going to play kind of under the mentorship of two guys with a bit of experience, and then ended up being your, number one target, if not number two, by week, 2 or 3. So, okay, let's backtrack a little bit.
I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good. Got Chiefs on our mind. We're both wearing red today. Noah Cameron, St. Joe, Missouri native, getting the start. Neil, these are the fun. I just think these little nuggets are so cool. Noah Cameron out of St. Joe, Missouri, went to Central High School out there. got his first start and pitched into 7 innings, was I think 8 outs away from a no-hitter, just unbelievable. Then you have a couple.
I was anchoring. You were at home watching the game on television. I was watching the game here anchoring.
Right. I spent the day in St. Joe, though.
Pardon me?
I spent that day in St. Joe because I went up and.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then you came back.
I zoomed.
You didn't wait and shoot the fans at the Hi-Ho.
I zoomed
watching the game.
Hi-Ho, is that the name of the? Oh yeah, you go there for training camp, right?
Yeah, it's great.
Hi-Ho. Zoomed his family from the road, and they were so excited. And
they were great. And then I stole the interview, and I had some people tell me, Neil, that was a great interview. And I was like, thank you.
I worked really hard for it.
If the guy had a wreck, that's the lead story on nightly news or whatever CBS
He was zooming me while he was driving to the airport to pick up Noah's brother to watch the game. But anyway, I had a ridiculously good debut. Ended up getting sent down back to AAA Omaha the next day, as predicted, because he was.
It's roster stuff.
I think he was just there to spot. Was it Seth Lugo at the time?
Yeah, it's a roster thing.
Cole Reagans was dealing with, I think, groin tightness.
So this weekend, I heard something really, really interesting. I was driving into work, and I got to McDonald's. I was going to go and get something to eat on the way to work. Got to McDonald's, stayed in the parking lot at McDonald's in a company car. Okay, so people came out and knocked on the window and were like, "Hey, Mr. Jones, can we help you?" And I go, "No, I'm listening to something on radio. I'll be in." They thought there was a problem because Channel 5 news car was in their parking lot. So I could hear the manager and then the general manager, J.J. Piccolo, talk about Jack Caglione and Noah Cameron. And I thought the GM made a great point. He goes, "Look, the reason we set him down is we already had all of our starters, and the starters were all doing great. We didn't need to replace a starter.
Yep.
Well, we don't want him on the bench. We want him pitching every 5th day or whatever."
Yeah.
And he's a young guy. He's 25 years old. He's got a world of talent. He's a big leaguer, but he needs to pitch. And so unless we have a hole with an injury or a guy who's ineffective, Michael Lorenzen, then maybe – he needs to stay down there, not because he's not good, but because we need him pitching all the time.
Yeah.
And so
that's a great way to,
it made me feel a lot better because he's had 3 great starts in a row. He didn't win all of them, but he should have won all 3 of them. If he'd had any run support this last game, he gave up 1 run.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think he is – I think he could be the story of the season when we look back on it. Really, I mean, look, Bobby Witt Jr. is Bobby Witt Jr., and certainly these other guys can be big stars, Vinny Pasquantino and Sal Perez and all these guys. But his story, Chris Bubich, that's a massive story. And he was a really good closer last year, and now turned into a stopper type of starter. He's been great. But I just think Noah Cameron is a great story. And I think he could end up playing a major role for this franchise this season.
Yeah, grew up Royals fan too, so pretty cool nugget there. Let's move on to maybe the glass half empty version of this, which is Royals had won 16 of 18 a couple weeks back. Since then, they've lost 11 of 16. But Neil, you had we were talking about this before we started rolling here. You had a pretty good explanation to maybe quell fan concerns a little bit, I guess.
Okay, let's say you're playing ping pong. And you're playing against all the little kids at your house. Boom, 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 and you're killing them. You're 19-0 versus your 7-year-old little brother and your 4-year-old little brother. But then when the older kids get out of school and come home, you begin to have trouble. That's what's happened. The Royals beat up on some teams that aren't very good, which is what you want them to do.
Yep.
That's what you got to do. You got to beat the teams you're better than. They go in, and they went into San Francisco, took 2 out of 3 from the Giants, a Giants team that was in first place in the West at the time they came in. And when they left San Francisco, the Giants had fallen down to second place. Everybody talks about the Padres and Dodgers. Guess what? The Giants were leading the division. The Royals took 2 out of 3 from them. So I'm not trying to suggest that every game was against the White Sox. But the reality is when you play better teams with better pitching, you're going to have a tougher time. And let's face it, the elephant in the room that's trampling and breaking all the furniture and torturing everybody is their inability to score runs. They get guys on base, they don't knock them in. In that Twins series, they had 2 games they could have won if they had just hit, 400 with men in scoring position instead of 100. or 0 or whatever it was, 0-50. That one game, I think they left 9 guys on base. You have opportunities, and they haven't been able to cash them in. And that comes, Marlia, from having more than 1 or 2 hot hitters. You get 4 hot hitters spread out through the lineup, and then you can start to have some big innings.
Neil, I'm curious your thoughts. I talked to Gabe about this on this show, but
I want to tell me first what he thinks so I can know what I should think.
Do you? Is it going to be the opposite? Jack Caglione, do you think he is maybe an answer?
What does he think?
What does Jack Caglione think? What does Gabe think?
Gabe.
Gabe, what do you think? He's over there. I think not yet. He said not yet.
I agree with him. I agree with him. It was funny. I was listening to 810 today on my way up to do a story this morning, really early in the morning that you sent me to.
That's not
Marlia.
True.
I mean, like I had to get up at 8 a.m.
Okay.
And I'm driving up and I'm listening to them, and they had a guy on from MLB, I think MLB.com, who works on their up and coming guys. That's what he specializes in. And and that's what he does. It's his own. He doesn't cover the Chiefs and then sporting soccer. He just does one thing, and that is cover young players in the minors, in college, who are on their way to the majors, people who might be drafted. And he said that he thinks it's highly critical for a guy to get a little time in the AAA. I think it's important. One thing that impressed me about Caglione is we all know he had that great start at AA because we heard about it and talked about it ad nauseum up here in Kansas City. What people forgot or didn't pay attention to was when we weren't hearing news about him, he had a week where he didn't hit at all.
Yeah.
He went like 0 for 5 games.
He was 0 for 5 last night in his Omaha debut.
And what was so impressive was he then got it turned around.
Yeah.
So whatever they were doing to him, and maybe it was just bad luck, but whatever they were doing to him, which is trying to find a weakness and, oh, wait a minute, we're not sure he can hit a high inside fastball. Well, that's all he's going to get until he proves he can adjust and hit it. And then so it's an adjustment. And he has to learn to adjust. In the SEC, as good a league as that is, and it's the best league in college baseball, they don't have the kind of arms that they have at the major league level. Typically, if you talk to scouts, they're like most college baseball is like AA. You got some really good ones, and you got some in the middle, and you got some bad ones. And it's kind of that way in college baseball and what they have in AA. The majors isn't like that. Even the worst pitchers in the major leagues, for the most part, can throw more than one pitch. They can still come in with stuff when they're down in the count. When it's, they're 0-2, or it's easy to pitch. But when you got 3 balls and no strikes and you got the bases loaded, can you throw something other than a fastball? Most major leaguers can.
Yeah.
But the minor leagues, they don't very much. And so it's important for him to get as many at-bats as he can. And also remember, he's learning how to play outfield. That's the other big thing. Rusty Kuntz, who we all know here in Kansas City and love because he was such a great coach on Ned Yost's staff, he's still with the organization. He's working with him every single day about playing right and left field, learning where to play and see how the ball comes off the bat and the angles you have to take. And this is a guy who has size 17 feet. He's not a natural outfielder. So he's got a good arm. Remember, he was a pitcher before he had Tommy John surgery, right? Mm-hmm. So he's got a strong arm. But he's got to learn that he can track baseballs. That's not something, Marlia, you want to learn to do at the major league level with a team that's fighting for a playoff spot.
Fair, yeah.
So you do that for Omaha because the damage you can do there is tough for the people in Omaha. But we don't care about the people in Omaha anyway, do we?
I'm not going to answer that. Well, big opportunity for the Royals this week. Look, the AL Central right now, Tigers sitting 6 games ahead, the Guardians and the Twins. Royals right behind at 7.5, and you have the Tigers coming to town this week for a 3-game skid after.
Wouldn't it be horrible if like 7 or 8 of their pitchers were arrested and held in Kansas City jails for under shady charges for say 3 weeks and let them go with minor leaguers?
3 weeks.
Well, 3 weeks. Hold them for 3 weeks.
I was gonna say 3 days, right? We just need Friday through Sunday.
Well, no, we want them to go. We want them to go on a losing streak.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Big slick on Friday. Mike Moustakas, Neil, retiring as a Royal on Saturday. And then the game's on our air on KSMO on Sunday. Okay, one more topic.
Mike Moustakas I'm excited about.
Yeah,
I'm excited about.
That'll be cool.
Although, did you notice with Banana Ball that none of the former Royals greats got hits? None of them got a hit.
I think
None
they
of
get
them.
They get an excuse for that. And
Well, I'm just saying they got the pitching in those. It's not the Harlem Globetrotters. It's
yeah. You said it's a real.
They actually
that, right?
can play.
Yeah. And we'll also see them at the Home Run Derby X in September. Just announced today that Mike Moustakis,
that's kind of neat.
All those guys, yeah, will be competing there. So hopefully the Bananas got him kind of brushed.
That's like you and I being a dunk contest.
Yeah, it would not be pretty.
Can they? Okay, at a certain age, can you still hit home runs?
Yeah, well, we will find out September 13th. Okay, Neil. Before we wrap this up, I know you had one item you wanted to add to the agenda list, which is the state of college football.
Well, Gabe and I talked about this. Gabe, because he sits over there and reads everything on the internet, and he's so much better informed than I am. But it's a massive story. I've ended up doing a bunch of radio in the SEC footprint and in Dallas and some other places about this subject. They have pulled the conference champions in this first round of expanded college football playoff. The conference champions, the 4 conference champions all got byes, right? Mm-hmm. And didn't have to play in the first round. And they all got beat. Mm-hmm. And teams like Tennessee, which were thought to be really, really good, got fed to another team on the road. And so the SEC and Big Ten said, enough's enough. We want everything seeded. And we do not want the Big 12 champion and the ACC champion to get any preferential treatment because they're bad leagues. They're not as good as us. So we think our 4th place team is better than their champion. Arizona State. Well, Arizona State ended up being pretty good. Arizona State should have beaten Texas. They came within a play of beating them, right? 4th and 13, and give Texas credit. They were able to make a play, score a touchdown, and win in overtime. So give them credit. But ASU, the Big 12 champion, ended up being a lot better than any of us thought they were going to be. And Tennessee ended up getting absolutely run by Ohio State. Ohio State, that was one of those games. They were up like 20-0. They could have scored 55 points, but they kind of held back a little bit. And Tennessee made it look a little more respectable. But so the SEC and Big Ten are pushing, and that's what they got. That's what they got. So I'm not excited about it. I think they want to skew this towards them.
Right.
They want to make it as easy as possible. The reason I wanted to talk about this again was you played college Division I college basketball. The one thing about it was if you make the tournament, everybody's given an equal shot.
Yeah, the whole time you're talking, I'm just thinking winners don't ask for the rules to be changed, right? Like to let the games play for themselves. And I think part of the magic of college athletics that we frankly lost in the last couple of years has been kind of the underdog story and the potential for upsets just because it is getting so polarized when it comes to, being able to pay athletes to come to you or the transfer portal opening up. You're less likely to have a mid-major star like Steph Curry or in basketball or Josh Allen in Wyoming stick around at a mid-major school.
Where did you go to school again?
Wyoming.
Okay.
Yep.
It's great that you were able to bring that up.
First example that came to mind.
And you went to school with him, right?
Yeah.
You guys, you were in the same basket weaving course your freshman year, right?
Same class, but didn't take basket weaving till my senior year. But anyway, a lot of that parity has gone away. And
you're a fan. You're a big fan of college football.
Yep.
It used to be that in the summertime, and we're a little early for this, but in the summertime, you'd start to look at the big games. KU at Missouri. Missouri's got to win that game if they want to get in the playoff.
Yep.
Because if you lose to Kansas at home, and unless Kansas wins 12 games, it kills you.
Yeah.
Guess what? It doesn't. This expanded playoff, I think it's absolutely devalued the regular season. That Georgia beats Texas. Right? That was a huge win for them in the SEC championship game. What difference did it make? Georgia, Texas still got in the playoff, and they ended up going farther than Georgia. It really, I think they've expanded the playoffs too much, and I think that I think that they are on. Gabe's on the record as saying, look, they're going to mess up college football. They're going to ruin it if they keep up with like this. In your mind, is that possible?
Oh, I think we're well on our way. I'd be curious if the numbers, like the viewership numbers, back that. But certainly I think the enthusiasm and kind of the passion that you see backing the league has gone down. But who's to say? Still got a good season to come for KU, K-State, and Mizzou, and we'll see.
One final thing.
Yeah.
I just want you to know, I want to file a protest.
Okay.
Our assistant news director, Molly, can I say her last name? Probably shouldn't. Molly made me completely re-edit a story because I was factually incorrect. Can you imagine having to? She actually made me change it. So I had to. It hadn't run yet, but it was factually inaccurate, and she made me change it. I just want to file a protest. I tried to explain this is sports. We can be factually inaccurate.
Ooh, on that note, we'll call it a day. Same time, same place tomorrow. Again, Big Slick on Friday. Mike Mustak is retiring on Saturday, and Royals on KSMO on Sunday. Thanks so much for watching.